Hey guys, okay, this video is going to be about line graphs. The three words that you need to know are, first of all, what a line graph is and when to use it, what vertical and what horizontal axis are, okay? So, first of all, as a reminder, you use a line graph when you are trying to show changes over time. So like right here, on the horizontal axis, or sometimes we call this the x-axis, this is showing time, like literal times of the day. And on the y-axis or the vertical axis, they are showing the temperature. So then this line is showing how temperature changes over time, okay? So from the line graph, you can answer questions based on the information. Another line graph is the temperature. So here it is the temperature at school again over time. So you can pick 8 a.m. and you can see how warm it was, 10 a.m. and you can see. Basically, at the end, and the reason that you should look at a line graph is you can like you can interpret or infer based on what you're seeing. So like the trend of this line graph is showing that at school in the morning it's a lot cooler than it is in the afternoon at 12 o'clock, and that over time the temperature increases. I'm sure if they extended this x-axis, then they added more dates, I bet you the line would come back down, because typically after afternoon the temperature starts to go back down again. This line graph is, so basically this person, you start with a table, and based on the information, this is time again in minutes, and it's how distance from Ryan's house. So after 1 minute, you have to look at the scale that goes from 0 to 500 to 1,000 to 1,500. So you would need to look in the middle and see, it goes 0, 250, 500, 750, 1,000, and you would keep having to go up to figure out how much everything is. So question 1, if you want to pause and answer these questions and then press play to check your work, I suggest doing that. Number 1 is, how far is Ryan from his house after 3 minutes? I want to make this bigger so we can actually see it. And after 3 minutes, I find my time, 3 minutes, and I go up and I go over. It's between 1,000 and 1,500, so that would be 1,250, okay? After blank minutes on the bus, Ryan is 2,500 meters. Well, this time I have to go up the side, 2,500, and that is after 6 minutes on the bus. It says the bus stopped between blank and blank minutes, okay? Well, if the bus is stopping, that means that it's not getting any farther or any closer to his house, so the line has to be staying the same. Between minutes 4 and 5, the bus seems to be stopped and isn't moving because he hasn't gained or lost any distance, okay? After how many minutes of its journey did the bus turn around and travel back? Well, it's getting bigger, 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 staying the same, which is the bus stop. It's getting further away, and then it comes back down. That must mean he's getting closer to his home, so the bus must have turned around at minute 6. And then the last one, during which 1 hour interval? Remember, an interval is between this time and this time. You need to include both. During which 1 minute interval was the bus moving the fastest? Well, if something's going fast, I'm expecting him to cover more ground in a shorter amount of time. So that must mean when it really jumps up. So right here, the line drastically increases. So it starts getting faster at 5 minutes, and it starts to slow down again at 6 minutes. So it's between 5 and 6. An interval is always between two things. You can't just say 5. That's not an interval. An interval is like 5 to 6, or 6 to 7, or 4 to 9, or whatever. But it's between 2 points. This is, I'm going to skip this one actually. This is the change in spring length. So again, we talk about the horizontal axis has the mass, or the amount of grams it weighs. And at the top we have the length in centimeters of the spring. Remember we talked about what this little, I don't know what it's called, this little thingamajig is. And we said how it's because it's showing that like a big chunk of numbers is missing. So it starts 0 and then goes to 20. And then 23, 26, 29, 32. Well, these are all skipping by 3s, but 0 to 20 is a big jump. So they put these little lines there to show that like a big chunk of the numbers are missing and that it doesn't fit the rest of the pattern. So you only have to do that if you're missing a big bunch of numbers. What is the length of the spring when it is not stretched? Well, that means when you just buy the spring, which has to be right here. And when you're not bought, the line graph starts at 20, so I'm guessing without any weight or mass on it, it is 20 grams. And then it says, what's the length of the spring for these? So 10 grams, you just go up, that's 23. 30 grams, you go up, and that's 29. 50 grams, you go up and over, and that's 35. It says, let's go, I'm gonna skip this one again. Let's see if there's another one. Okay, so another part of the test you're gonna have to know is when to use which types of graphs. Our options are bar graph, line graph, picture graph, and this as a picture graph, or a bar graph, I'm sorry, is useful when comparing data, especially when the numbers are large. Like look at this 0, 500,000. These are big numbers. So usually you can compare data using that. I also think that you could use a line graph for this because it is, days of the week are timed. So we could show how the visitors at the park change over time. And we could connect it and make a line graph. But I guess because the numbers are so big that's why they wanted to make it a bar graph. Also, it says that because they're comparing information, so they're comparing Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday to Friday, they're just seeing how they're all different. So that would be why you would use a bar graph. This is a picture graph. The most important part of the picture graph is to look at the key because each picture might represent something else. So each picture represents 3 visitors. Picture graphs are really good when the numbers are small and when they are multiples of a certain number. So like this worked perfectly because this is 9, this is 15, and look at 3, 9, 15, 6, 6, 9, 3. All of those are multiples of 3, which is I think why they made each star represent 3 visitors because it would work out. The numbers are small, no numbers are in the hundreds, and it's helpful. You could draw a picture, makes it look a little bit differently. If we are also comparing data as well for this, I guess just because the numbers are smaller, that's why the picture graph is better than the bar graph. A line graph we know is showing data changes over time. So again, at the bottom we have time, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. We're not comparing the times, we're just seeing how it changes. Like why do you think at 2 p.m. the temperature is the highest? And you can infer like, oh well, in the day, though it's warmest during that time, because the temperature is warmed up and in the morning it's cooler and then it gradually gets back down at night. All of your background knowledge would help you answer those questions. Let's try these 3 before the video is over. So you have to pick bar graph, line graph, picture graph. For the first one, this is a comparison of the number of visitors to a art museum in 2 different ways. So first of all, it's a comparison. We're comparing the months and we're comparing how many visitors are there. These are pretty big numbers and they don't look like they're multiples. Oh, I guess they're multiples of 5, but they're still kind of pretty big. So I would not use a picture graph. I would probably use a bar graph because the numbers are large. This is the number of books read by students. So again, this is people, so it's not time, so I wouldn't use a line graph. I could use a bar graph, but look at 12, 8, 16, and 4 are all small numbers, and they're all multiples of 4. So I think a picture graph would be best. Last one is Pete's weight over 5 months. So it's over time, it's the months, and it's how his weight is changing. So I think that would be a line graph, okay? Make sure you do your study guide, and you are ready for the test.